Hey everybody. I was just thinking about bloodlines and humans are just patterns in nature, and then understanding the hatred against Bill Gates and the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the Morgans and the Carnegies. And that all comes from people not understanding what it took to get to where people are now. There are people in our society that are geniuses, that are aware, that move society forward, and you see a lot of them in the news. You see them heads of companies. You could be like, oh yeah, they're connected. They're like, what do you call it, nepotism. And while that may be true, good morning, Mary. While that may be true, they've inherited very good genetics to allow them to be able to take on the empire that their parents have created. And they do it very well. I mean, just look at the Trumps. I mean, look, Ivanka, Eric, and the other guy. Okay? They are able to take part in their daddy's empire and pull it off very well. Okay? Which means that their genetics, their knowledge, their wisdom is able to be passed down along the ages. Okay? And you can look at where Trump came from, and yeah, he was, the original, or the Trump senior, came from overseas, and he built his empire, by finding the opportunities at the time. Okay? And so now we are discovering that you don't have to have a reproduction, a bloodline to create an empire. That you could be the person that gathers all the knowledge in the world without having to pass it down to somebody else. Though you could, I mean, as far as your offspring. But what if we all had the knowledge of the world and we are able to share it with each other, and we don't have to reproduce or die, and we all could be potentially equally, I don't say rich, but we all have our needs met and are able to live comfortably on this earth without envying anybody, without demonizing anybody. Because here's the thing. I mean, when I understand about patterns in nature, these people that understand and can predict, because that's really what it comes down to. Because here's the thing, I can now see and predict probably where some people are going to end up on my jelly juice, considering their focus. I can see, even in my world, where people are going to end up based upon their belief systems, their lifestyles, just by even looking at them and knowing their predispositions. I mean, when you know that sugar, turns into, if it's not used up, it can turn into fat, which is a good thing. It's full of calories and it can turn into fat. And that's why there's a balance of exercise, so to speak, but not really, to salt, because the sugar gives you the acids to think and to give you some kind of energy, as well as give you the calories and the fat in the form, and then the salt gives you energy and also is able to keep the balance of the fat in your body so it's not overabundant. So where am I going with this? Okay, sugar, salt, balancing forces, okay. God, I was going somewhere with this, but I totally lost my train of thought there. But that's okay. So the knowledge that we have, so I can kind of see, so that's right. So if you can just look at somebody and know what their issues are, and you can tell when someone like writes something or posts something, or when someone says something, you almost can see the world that they live in. You don't need to have a whole book on their life to figure out really their belief system, where they're going to end up, where they're headed, what it is that they're doing. You don't need to have a whole lot of information to kind of figure out people, because you understand patterns. You see patterns. You see patterns in your own life. You see patterns in your family. You see patterns in society. And if you pay attention enough, you'll see patterns everywhere. And so it's not that hard to believe that people like Bill Gates and Tesla and all of the titans of industry have been around the block, and they have the knowledge and the wisdom of the ages to be able to pass that knowledge down to their offspring. And like the Rothschilds, he gave it to all of his different sons, and they spread out across the world and created their own banking empire. Okay, so what if all of us, like, I don't know my bloodline, I don't know my background, I'm adopted, but the Jilly Juice was able to give me access to knowledge and the drive to find out the secrets of the universe. I mean, that sounds so like, oh my God, but the answer really isn't out there. The answer is in here. Okay, that's where the secrets of the universe is actually within you. And people don't know that's where it is. And so they go and demonize and they project and they go and get on a bandwagon and activism and blame and think that because somebody is saying, hey, something's going on here, and I can predict that in the next 6 months we're going to have a pandemic. Well, I could tell you guys, whoever it is that's on my Facebook and their dog, someone on my Facebook, their dog had a seizure, 9 years old, same age as my dog. The dog had a seizure, never had a seizure before. And then I know this coronavirus. And so I can predict, I know that most likely it's the coronavirus the dog was exposed to. The human has it too. Probably doesn't know that she has it. She probably gave it to her dog. Okay. And I can predict that dog now is going to have some issues in the future. Okay. So it's not that difficult to be able to predict things when you understand the patterns around you, to where you can call it. But then someone will say, well, if you can predict something because you understand patterns, then you created it. That's what we're seeing, is that people are demonizing those that are able to predict and see patterns. So Bill Gates is able to see things and patterns at the microscopic level, and then able to take the human body and then translate it into a software company. Okay, where he has Microsoft Word, Microsoft everything. Yeah, he cornered the market, but let me tell you, how many of you are able to tap into your ancestral knowledge and be as inventive as he is? Some people are able to tap into the wisdom of their bloodlines. But some of you come from bloodlines that are so disconnected, and you have bad habits that not only you have passed down to your kids, but have been passed down to you, and no one has broken the cycle. And then you're envious of somebody else who has then seen the patterns and are able to predict and are able to create something. Because I kind of see it in my world. When I have people out there, the shock jocks out there that are demonizing me, saying that I'm hurting people, and I'm not. And I'm able to see, okay, you already have predispositions. You're going to have to deal with it no matter what. But then they're going to say, oh, no, you created their predispositions, Jillian, with your juice. No different than someone saying that Bill Gates created this pandemic so he could sell a vaccine. No, the vaccines actually saved people's lives when there were major pandemics way back before the 1700s. Because some people were that weak that could not handle the environment. So they needed a transition. But we have been so entitled and so used to somebody saving our ass at the 11th hour that we don't realize that it came from biotech and the medical community way back in the 1700s. And it's just now, it's just like, so like, oh, okay, it's like, you take it for granted. And so when the same person who sees these things go on and realize that many people out there are procreating on bodies that shouldn't be procreating, creating offspring that are troubled, that are activists, that are anti-government, that are predators, that are abusers, then they're like, okay, we see what's going on here. People are reproducing on bodies that shouldn't be reproducing, and they're creating criminals in our society. They're creating the predators in our society, the ones that you see on the news, the ones that come up on True Crime Daily. And so, yeah, so I totally understand now where the leaders of our society are going like, okay, we have to stop this. This is insane. Our society is becoming more and more and more imbalanced, that this coronavirus is actually bringing up the predispositions of the geniuses in our society, as well as a major, major, major ignorant. When I posted that picture of a screenshot of that dude that's saying that viruses can't be caught, only injected, that's the level of ignorance that we're dealing with, because people are now more than ever going to tout their conspiracy drum, because they just don't have the foundation anymore to work with our society. The coronavirus is accelerating the stupidity and the ignorance as well as the geniuses. Because let me tell you, ever since I changed the white salt, ever since I changed the protocol, I am seeing exactly how people are. It brought up the truth. Even in people in my group, it brought up the truth about them. It's like you can't hide behind your lip service. You can't hide behind your computer. You can't hide behind your rah 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 sis boom bah. When I've taken the level of energy, the level of evolution up a notch, and I've substantiated it. It's not just like I just changed something just arbitrarily because I could. No, there was a reason behind it. And if you were doing the juice, even the pink salt, you would have been able to evolve with me and understand the information, because you would have already had tapped into your ancestral knowledge, your ancient knowledge, wisdom, whatever. And then you understood why I changed the diet. You understood why I changed the salt. And it wouldn't have to be a fight. But the fact I had to fight against people because I changed the diet and I changed the salt, and I'm becoming harsher now with those that are that weak, that really need somebody to hold their hand, and that's not my group. It brought out the truth in who the people are in my group. Not everybody. And so, so I can tell who's doing the juice and who's not. Because it's about evolving, it's about adapting, it's about understanding. Bill Gates has a genetic line where they've experienced things that most of us haven't experienced. I've experienced things that a lot of you have not experienced, and I can't give you those experiences. You can only take my word for it. But you can see what was created from those experiences. Okay? So, you can't give somebody the experience and the knowledge that has never experienced it. They're going to have to. And some people have to do their life over again. And maybe this is not their lifetime to continuously keep going. They may have to go back into the earth and come back again if they are that lucky. And so when you realize that humans are just another pattern in nature, and bloodlines, pure bloodlines, are no different. But there's no real pure bloodline. It's just a matter of the knowledge you've acquired and the education that you've acquired, learning from your predecessors, not making the same mistakes. Okay? That's the wisdom that the old money have, that their proletariat do not have. And you can say you can blame it on the elite. Well, you could, but remember, I try to give people this information. And you see what kind of resistance I get even in my own inner circle. Like, I try to give all the knowledge to a person right next to me, and he refused to see it. If I can't even get my own inner circle to see where I'm coming from, how do you think the fucking elite are going to be able to give you guys the knowledge that you're looking for? That you think that you deserve the truth. You can't even fucking handle the truth. People right next to me couldn't even handle the truth. Kevin could not handle the truth about the salt. It was such a fight that it was becoming now asinine. Why the hell am I fighting with someone that I'm supposed to be working with? This is stupid. Okay, so if I can't even get somebody that's right next to me, that's supposed to be working with me to understand why I changed the salt, changed the diet, there's no way that the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds are going to get you activist who's against them to understand why they do the things they do, because you refuse to understand basic science. You refuse to understand anything that makes sense as logical because you have an axe to grind because you're so pissed off at your predispositions and your station in life. So I now I understand, but it took me 4 years to understand because I had to keep peeling back the layers and layers and layers, and I stopped demonizing people and things. I understand where, some of these shock jocks are coming from because they've never been exposed to this kind of information. So they're going to learn about it. They're probably not going to adopt it, and they'll end up passing away in the future. They might come back and we'll be doing this, and maybe they'll be part of a system that's guiding reproduction carefully, and they will get the benefit of this in their next life, but definitely not in this life. And I'm okay with that. Because if you demonize Bill Gates, you demonize the elite, you demonize any politician, you're essentially demonizing me too. Because you just trade one addiction for the other. Anytime you demonize anything, instead of understanding where they're coming from, it doesn't mean that you have to adopt their ideology, but you can understand it and see why it is they are where they are, and where can you be a force like they can be, because you have all the capacity. Bill Gates, his family bloodline started from somewhere. He earned his right to be where he is. The Morgans earned their right to be where they are. The Carnegies, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds earned their right to be where they are. The Trumps earned their right to be where they are. So what are you going to do to make a difference in this society? Now, do you have to have billions and billions of dollars? Well, it's better to have billions and billions of dollars than to keep fighting wars with people that don't want to understand. Especially, okay, you know what? If you're going to be, resisting what I'm saying, you're not going to want to understand, then you know what? I'll just sell you something that you want anyways. You want a shortcut? Well, I'll sell you a shortcut. And that's how they made their millions, because they knew they couldn't get through to people, really. So people want a shortcut. They wanted a shortcut. So it's up to the population to change their wants and needs, to change their lifestyle, so you don't have somebody sell you something that you really don't need subconsciously. But the reason why you do is because you're that disconnected with your own body, mind, and spirit. Thanks, Mary. So, I'm going to write another book because this really makes sense. Humans are just another pattern in nature. That's all we are. We have the life trajectory and we have the death trajectory. And we've been adopting the death trajectory because we keep asking for the things that we don't need. Okay? And, if you don't learn it in this lifetime, you might learn it in the next lifetime when the world's a bit better. Actually, looks like in my case, I don't need to drink much JJ. Well, here's the thing. There are specific measurable results. Youth, vitality, and reversing all of the issues. So if you look like you did when you were 20, before all of your diagnoses and the age, then this is where you can say, I don't need as much JJ. Okay? So the specific measure result is to turn the hands of time back where you actually can see it. That's a specific result. Okay? And other than that, that's how you measure how well you're doing. So Marcus Teeple from Cedric, wherever the hell, from Yucaipa, California. Good luck to you. I hope you handle this virus. Bye. So those are the type of people that are angry faced, the people that demonize anybody. They don't like the station they have in life. And anyone that is doing better than them or have a different idea that they never thought of, or they have something to sell that conflicts with my ideology, they're going to be those that will demonize and play those games. Okay. So yeah, I'm breaking up. Okay. Well, I'm going to go, but that's okay. Is it breaking up now, Mari? But that's really all I really have to say at this point. But I just want you guys to know that I'm going to write another book and I'm going to put it all together. And you guys just kind of get a snippet of it. But thanks, Krista. But yeah, it's thanks, Krista. Okay. So yeah, it's just one of those things that I recognize. And when you stop demonizing a person, a place, a thing, an element, a mineral, a virus, a parasite, when you stop demonizing anything, when you understand everything has a place, then you finally have figured it out. Okay? When you stop fighting except for the battle within you, you finally are at peace, and you actually are fighting the right battle, because the battle isn't out there. The battle is in here. And so we need to have quarantine. We need to have a surveillance society for those that are imbalanced. I mean, I'm seeing all of my my anti-government people just sealing their own fate. They are creating the reason why we have a surveillance society. So I'm all for it. Everything should be transparent. And as much as I try to give them the information, they refuse to take the information. Those are the ones that will have to start over again. And there's going to be a lot of people out there in the world that are going to have to start over again. And I'm okay with that, because I'm tired of dealing with very ignorant people that even when I give them the information, they can't even take it. So you know that if I can't even convince somebody right off the bat, or have them understand right off the bat, that's right next to me, that says they understand, there's no way that Rothschilds, Rockefellers, the Carnegies and Mellons, the Morgans are going to be able to give you guys any information that you're willing to take. Okay? There's no freaking way. So that's how I know why we are where we are. It's because we have so many disconnected bloodlines with issues. So there we go. You guys have a good day. I'm done. Bye-bye.